One more day. Right now, somewhere, someone just quit. Not dramatically, not with some big announcement. They just stopped. They told themselves they'd start again Monday. They told themselves they were tired. They told themselves it didn't matter if they skipped today. And here's the thing. They were right. It didn't matter. Today, by itself, never matters. That's exactly why most people quit. Because they're looking for the day that changes everything. The breakthrough, the moment, the big result that makes all the effort worth it. But that's not how it works. That was never how it works. You don't change your life in a day. You change your life in a direction. And the direction is built one more day at a time. Look at where you are right now, bent over, hands on your knees, lungs burning. The easy thing, the obvious thing, is to stop. Nobody would blame you. Nobody's even watching. And that's exactly the moment that decides everything. Because the person you're becoming isn't built on the days you felt like it. They're built on the days you didn't. And you went anyway. That's the whole secret. Discipline beats motivation. Every single time. Motivation is a feeling. And feelings are liars. Motivation shows up when it's easy and disappears the second it gets hard, which is exactly when you need it most. So if you're waiting to feel motivated before you move, you've already lost. The elite don't move because they feel like it. They move because they said they would. They act from commitment, not from mood. That's the difference between the people who talk about their goals and the people who become them. So you trust the process, even when you can't see the result yet. Especially when you can't see it yet. Because every step counts, even the ones that feel like they're going nowhere. That's the part nobody understands about the grind. The reps are invisible. The early mornings are invisible. The days you pushed through when everything in you wanted to quit. Nobody sees those. But they're not wasted. They're compounding, quietly, underneath the surface. Building something the world won't see until it's undeniable. And to do that, you have to focus. You have to block the noise, the opinions, the distractions, the voice in your own head looking for permission to ease up. You stay locked in on the one thing that matters, the next step, not the whole mountain. Just the next step, then the next one, then one more. Because here's what the hard days are actually doing. They're not punishing you. They're building you. The hard days build champions. Anyone can perform when it's easy. Anyone can show up when conditions are perfect. But the person who shows up when it's raining, when they're exhausted, when there's no applause and no audience, and no reason except the standard they refuse to lower, that person is forging something unbreakable. Every hard day you survive is proof to yourself that you can. And that proof becomes identity. And that identity becomes unstoppable. So when you're standing there, bent over, everything in you screaming to quit, I want you to do one thing. Not finish the whole journey. Not solve your whole life. Just give it one more day. Get up tomorrow and do it again. And the day after that, one more. Because that's the move nobody's willing to make consistently. And that's exactly why it works. One more day, stacked on one more day, stacked on one more day. That's not a small thing. That's the whole thing. That's how careers are built. That's how bodies are transformed. That's how broke becomes free. And average becomes elite. And the person you are slowly becomes the person you were always meant to be. Your future is worth it. The version of you waiting on the other side of all these invisible days, they're worth every hard morning it takes to get there. So don't quit today. You can quit tomorrow if you still want to, but not today. Today, you give it one more day. Because that That right there is how you change everything. One more day. Right now, somewhere, someone just quit. Not dramatically, not with some big announcement. They just stopped. They told themselves they'd start again Monday. They told themselves they were tired.
The office climate, a leader's mood. There's something happening in your office right now that nobody is talking about. Not in the meeting, not on the numbers report, not in any performance review, but it's affecting every single outcome your team produces every day, whether you see it or not. It's the climate, and you created it. Not intentionally, not with a policy or a memo or a leadership decision. You created it the moment you walked in this morning. The energy you carried through that door, the tension in your shoulders, the tone in your first sentence, the look on your face before anyone even spoke to you. That became the atmosphere your entire team is now breathing. And they didn't choose to absorb it. Their nervous systems did it automatically because that's what human beings do in the presence of a leader. They read the weather and then they become it. This is the law nobody puts in the leadership manual. A leader's mood becomes the office climate. Your energy becomes their environment, and their environment determines every outcome. Let that sit for a second, because if you lead people, this is the most important thing you will hear today. Think about the last time you walked into a room frustrated, distracted, or emotionally reactive. You probably thought you were managing it. You probably thought you were keeping it professional, but your team felt it before you opened your mouth. The body language said it, the micro-expressions said it, the tone said it, and within minutes, without a single conversation about it, the energy in that room shifted, focus dropped, creativity closed, people got careful instead of confident. Careful means they stopped taking risks. Careful means they stopped bringing their best, and careful never wins. Now think about the leader who walks in grounded, present, clear, not fake, not performing happiness they don't feel, but genuinely regulated, calm in their body, steady in their energy, certain in their direction. That leader walks in and the room rises to meet them, not because they said anything brilliant, because their presence communicated something the nervous systems around them couldn't resist. It's safe here. We have direction. We're going to be okay. That's calm leadership, creating clarity. Clarity creating confidence. Confidence creating performance. It flows in that exact order, every time, without exception. And the opposite flows just as reliably in the other direction. Chaotic leadership creates confusion. Confusion creates stress. Stress creates breakdown. And breakdown, in a sales office, in a van, in a training room, in any environment where humans are trying to produce, breakdown is the most expensive thing that can happen. It doesn't show up on a single line item, but it shows up in every single result. Here's what makes this so critical to understand. The team doesn't just hear your words, they absorb your energy and they emulate it. There is an invisible mirror operating in every team at every moment, and it's reflecting the leader back at the people they lead. You set the weather, they become the forecast. And you don't get to opt out of this. There is no neutral. There is no, I'll just stay out of it today. The moment you are in the room, you are the climate. The only choice is what kind. And here's the part that most leaders never reckon with. Storms spread silently. Unchecked emotions don't stay contained inside you. They leak into your tone, into your decisions, into the way you run the morning meeting, into the feedback you give when someone misses a number, into the patience you have or don't have when the team needs you most. And by the time you realize the storm got out, the culture has already absorbed it, because culture doesn't wait for permission, it just reflects whatever it's been given. So here's the standard this requires. Lead your state before you lead your team. Before you walk through that door, regulate, not perform, regulate. There's a difference. Performance is pretending to be calm while the storm rages inside. Regulation is actually doing the work to get grounded, present, and clear so what walks in the door is real. So the climate you create is intentional. Because a healthy emotional climate doesn't just feel good, it produces, It builds trust, the kind that makes people go further than they're required to. It builds loyalty, the kind that survives hard seasons. And it builds elite performance, the kind that doesn't depend on conditions being perfect because the internal environment is strong enough to hold the standard regardless. That's what you're building every single day, whether you know it or not. The environment you create today defines the results you'll be remembered for. The climate you protect becomes the culture you leave behind, and the standard you hold in your own emotional state becomes the invisible ceiling or the invisible sky for everyone around you. So before you lead them, lead yourself. Lead your state, protect your culture, elevate your standard. Your energy is their environment, and every outcome begins there. Broken identities and what fixes them. I want to start with something most people never realize about themselves. The reason you're stuck isn't your effort, it isn't your talent, it isn't your circumstances. The reason you're stuck is your identity, the invisible story you carry about who you are. Because here's the truth that changes everything once you understand it. Identity is the operating system. Everything you do, everything you tolerate, everything you achieve or fail to achieve runs on top of the identity underneath it. And if the operating system is broken, it doesn't matter how hard you work. You'll keep getting the same results. So let's talk honestly about how identities break. Because nobody is born broken. Broken identities are built by pain and then sustained by lies. It starts with false beliefs. Somewhere along the way, you came to believe something about yourself that was never true. That you're not enough, not smart enough, not disciplined enough, not the kind of person who wins. You didn't choose that belief. It was installed by a moment, a person, a failure, a wound. But you've been carrying it like it's fact, and you've been making decisions to protect it ever since. Then come the toxic patterns. You repeat what never worked, the same self-sabotage, the same quitting point, the same reaction when pressure hits. Not because you're weak, but because the pattern feels like home. It's familiar, and the broken identity would rather stay in familiar pain than risk unfamiliar growth. Then there are the limiting environments. You stay where you were broken. You surround yourself with people who only know the old version of you. People who, without even meaning to, keep you exactly where you've always been, because your growth would threaten their comfort. Underneath all of it are the emotional wounds. And here's the trap most people never escape. You start protecting the pain instead of healing it. The wound becomes part of your story, part of your excuse, part of who you think you are. You guard it. You build your whole personality around avoiding it. And finally, the deepest one, false identity. You start performing a version of you that isn't even real, a mask, the tough one, the one who doesn't care, the one who's fine, and you wear it so long you forget there was ever a real you underneath it. That's a broken identity, built by pain, sustained by lies, and living inside it feels like being trapped behind glass, watching the life you want, unable to reach it. But here's where everything changes, because a broken identity is not a life sentence, it's a starting point. Identities are rebuilt by truth and powered by choice. It begins with truth. You face your story, the real one, not the version you perform, the version that's actually true. You stop running from the wound and you look at it directly, because you cannot heal what you refuse to face. And the moment you face it honestly, something shifts. You stop being a victim of your story and you start being the author of it. You own your power again. Then you install new beliefs. You don't just delete the lies, you replace them. You consciously, deliberately reprogram the mind that pain programmed for you. The old belief said, I'm not the kind of person who finishes. The new belief says, I am someone who follows through every time. And at first it feels fake. That's normal. Identity always feels fake right before it becomes real. Then comes discipline, and this is the part that actually does the rebuilding, because beliefs don't change your identity, proof changes your identity, and discipline is how you give yourself the proof. Every small daily action you follow through on is a vote for the new identity. Show up when you said you would, and you've just proven you're someone who shows up. Do it again tomorrow, and again. That's how unshakable self-trust gets built, not in one dramatic moment, but in 1,000 small, kept promises to yourself. Then you raise your standards, because you will never outperform your standards for long. Raise the standard, and you raise the life. What you tolerate is what you become, so you stop tolerating the old version. You hold a higher line, not for show, but because anything less doesn't feel like you anymore. And finally, purpose. You live for something bigger than you, because an identity built only around yourself is fragile. It collapses the moment things get hard. But an identity anchored to something larger, your family, your faith, your mission, the people counting on you, that identity doesn't break under pressure. It gets stronger. And underneath all of it is the foundation that holds everything together. The 5 pillars. Faith, to anchor your soul and find unshakable meaning. Family, to build the relationships and protect the circle that carries you. Fitness, to train the body that strengthens the mind. Finances, to gain control and build the freedom that creates stability. And future, to design a life worth becoming and leave a legacy worth remembering. When those 5 are aligned, the identity has something to stand on. When they fragment, everything fragments. So here's what I need you to understand as we begin. You are not your past. You are not the pain that built the old story. You are not the lies you've been carrying. Identity is the operating system, and you have the power to change it. Change your identity, and you change everything. It's awareness, alignment, action, reinforcement, identity, repeated daily. And one day you'll look up and become unrecognizable.